Okay, I've hit the net. I've put it out. I've cast the fishing line. Is that
Is that what pressing record means?
what does podcast even mean? Broadcast, pod. What
Yeah, so
what
the
does it
cast is
mean?
to like, distribute it. So I guess it's a pod, but that sounds silly to me. So many people say pod and it doesn't, I don't like it.
No. It sounds like we're cramped in a little circle, plastic circle like Gaga in the egg. Remember Gaga did the egg thing?
Yes.
That's where we're at. That's do you not know? That's what I think. Or like a sleeping pod in Japan. There's no room to move or to grow or to relax or to stretch your arms. You're just cramped,
With
suffocating,
your own thoughts.
and your mates' thoughts. I hope that that's not what this pod makes you feel. I hope that you're not feeling cramped or suffocated and that you're actually feeling free. We're opposite pods.
This is
Welcome
freedom.
to Doug by
Right
Us
now, listen,
Opposite Cast.
this is freedom.
It just, it's a weird word. Who invented it? I'm gonna look that up, but not right now. Right now, let's talk about some music. Um, can we talk about some live music?
Oh, if you want. Okay.
So, since we last recorded, we've announced the final acts for our Doug by Us Always live show, which is happening next month, the 30th of November. It is almost 30, it's like 37 days away or something. I can't count off the top of my head, but it's happening. I am very excited that my selection is already being featured on the pod. So you will be familiar with the voice that I am bringing in, which is Greta Ziller, amazing country rock artist. We have frothed on her hard in the past, and we get to froth on her IRL on the 30th of November at the Workers Club. So bring it on.
Yeah. What a champ. Like, that's excellent. Greta Zilla in there chatting, performing. And we've got a Saturday matinee situation. Like, what's better
Mm.
than a matinee at
Who are
our
you
age?
bringing in?
Elizabeth Riordan is an absolute, people that are actually stars and do stuff that's famous, but no one knows.
Mm.
So she's not only a singer, songwriter in her own right, but she's a top liner for not just Australian artists, but for American artists. And her songs have been in movies and TV shows and all sorts of things. And she's just some humble little gal living down here near me in Geelong, and can't wait to have her perform for you and the crowd that's there and learn a bit more about that. So we've got a couple of very talented ladies joining us, and I can't wait. Make sure you register for free at the link.
How did we do this?
Good question.
It's so ridiculous that people are taking us seriously.
That's a big love.
Oh. That laugh right there is what I think they define as imposter syndrome. That's yeah, it's gonna be a great day, and I'm so excited. It feels like it's still ages away, but I know it's gonna be here before we know it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be rad. All the details are in the link in our bio, and just put it in Google or Bing or Yahoo or whatever it is that you do. Write it in the sky. You'll find an answer.
No one says the word Bing out loud unless they're at a friend's.
I just did. The reason is for some reason that keeps on it, even though Chrome is my default browser, it keeps on defaulting on my computer, but that's a very boring story. Last week, Chris, you brought in a band that I know of. You brought in the song Britney Spears as a gateway to the rest of the record. The band is Series. Now, I was of the impression that Series disbanded and were no longer. And when you brought them in, I was like, oh, I must have just got them confused in my brain. But doing some research, they did kind of end in some sort of format because they took a very long break. I think it was like 5 years, and that was a possible Yeah, 5 years, right, and it was a possible end for them. I don't know if they had planned a break that long or planned to come back, but, um, they are such a great band and represent so much of what I love in that punk space. Um, it's yes, the song Britney Spears was a brilliant song for you to bring in, not only for everyone, but for me, because if there's something I love in music, it is male femme vocals combined. It is something that I love, particularly in punk music, and I think I've referenced, um, the marry of vocals on the Against Me record, New Wave as well, when they've got Tegan Quinn on a track, that marry of sounds is just one of my favorites. The Subways, there's lots of bands that have done it, but, to hear that song start with femme sounds and then go into what we know and love Series 4 was just beautiful. And then, of course, I dove into that mammoth of a record and loved it, and I'm so happy that they're back, and it makes me wanna go to their show, it makes me wanna be in the crowd because it feels like togetherness, you know? I can hear that song with everyone in the audience singing along, it feels welcoming and it feels there, and I'm just yeah, I'm sorry I snoozed on this record, but thank you for reminding me, for waking me up, but it's so nice to have them back. I hope that they understand how important it is to have them back, you know? Like, I hope they get it.
That togetherness is a good word because that's what it feels like. There's like they share their heart and then the crowd share it back. That people that get it so much.
Yeah,
It especially
yeah. And I think that's what that whole, like, emo punk does so well, and I'm definitely taking a trip down emo punk memory lane at the moment with the news that Warped Tour is coming back next year, which it's a huge part of my, coming of ageness, I guess, or a huge part of my life personally, with the When We Were Young festival happening right now in Vegas, which is, just a dream, absolutely dreamboat of a lineup, and all of these key albums that, really defined this sound and this genre are kind of having these 20th anniversary celebrations at the moment with Jimmy Eat World and My Chem and The Used, and it's really nice 20 years after that kind of big boom or big, that the big blow up of emo and hearing that influence 20 years later in bands like Series that they've made it their own. I don't know if that makes sense, but it just feels like this really beautiful point of reflection for that scene and for that genre at the moment. So I'm loving it. It came at a perfect time, Chris. So thank you.
that was on me. I'm joking. It was the timing's nothing to do with me, other than this. So that's great. I'm glad you dug it so much. You
So much.
referenced a an asset of that song, which is the the vocals, which is in common with the song that you brought. It's almost as if you're trying to talk up your own song without explicitly saying it. So the Last Martyr Requiem has that. It's like, oh, great, female vocal song. This is amazing. And then there's the dude, and then it's a new layer. You love it.
I love it. It's kind of like Evanescence bring me to life in a new form. I'm just thinking of that now. It's very similar. Is that the one with the rap guy? "All this time, I can't believe I couldn't see." That's it. Bring Me to Life.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very similar, and I also think that as though our songs are very different from Last Ep, they would be played in the same scene club. Like, we're on the same festival bill.
Yeah, we're at Goo, or
We're a
you
goo.
probably went to Bang.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they could both be there. But
Yeah.
I definitely like that. Like she's great, and I back in my Triple M Hard and Heavy days, I remember playing that band, and I like that they're still going and they've leveled up a bit, and that's yeah, good one.
Yeah, leveled up. I think, like, a band like that, they will probably be going for a while, and unfortunately, might take them a while to get to where they need to go because of the genre is tarred with a dirty brush, or maybe a female leading that space vocally might be uncomfortable for some of the dudes in this very male-dominated genre. But yeah, I'm glad that they're still at it, and I hope that people start to kind of see past that and realize that it's just as powerful and as important as the blokes out there.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, I see. There's a lot of I don't know. I see support for acts like that. So who am I thinking of at the moment? There's obviously Spirit Box on an international level.
Mm.
Um, there's a particular band, Relica.
Oh,
How you
yeah.
pronounce that?
Yep.
Yeah, there's a spot for this. Hopefully they can find it and go up.
Yeah, I also yes, I hear you. I understand that you're a male, but you're also an unusual male, of which
Yeah,
you're not one of the boys' clubs, you know? And so as much as I respect your opinion on that, just remember that you're a different brain. You don't see that. You've never taken that into consideration. So I think there is still absolutely a stigma around that.
Mhm. That sucks.
It sucks, but can we talk about stuff that doesn't suck?
Yeah, like the song I'm bringing in before you do.
All right, go for it.
I want to bring in the brand new Alice Ivy song, which is it's just beautiful and a triumph. And I hope it takes over the country. Josh Teskey's the vocal on it, and it's it's here. It's called "Do I Need to Know What Love Is?" And again, it's like heartfelt vocal, man, and just but
Mhm.
kind of smooth, jazzier, and it's like I love what she's done.
I mean, it's no secret that I'm obsessed with Alice Ivy. And Chris was there for the obsession or the meeting, I'm not sure, but I am so obsessed with Alice Ivy's music, and I was so excited to be at a wanker event with Alice, and Chris was there for the witnessing, and I was like, "I love you. I just want you to know that I think your album's amazing." And like you were just, like Chris was there, and although I was embarrassing and ridiculous in that lunch that we were at, we hung out again since then, and there's no AVO. I think that we're friends, so it's cool. It's reciprocated. Um, and I was going to bring that song in this week because I just love it, and I felt self conscious because I am so obsessed with Alice Ivy. I am so itching for this record. I actually can't remember, but maybe the title of the album that this song is off is called Do What Makes You Happy or something along those lines, which just is perfect because that's exactly what Alice Ivy's doing. Alice is playing the long game. They, are one of the best producers in the world. I'm not saying that because of my girl crush on her. I'm saying it because I mean it. In all of the music I've heard in the world, Alice Ivy just is one of the best producers and music makers ever to exist. And they not credited or not acknowledged as much as I would like them, but I don't make the rules. And so I know they're playing the long game. I know that this is going to inch them a little bit higher up on that list. And you just wait. But I am stoked that you brought this in because I felt self conscious bringing in every single Alice Ivy song that ever exists on this pod, and I now haven't. You have.
That's
And
where
if
you
you
do straight away. That's dive
if you
in, go boom.
Yeah, good on you. I'm glad you got in before me. If you're a visual person as well, check out the clip. It's really cute and vibey and uh yeah. Oh, I love it. I've got it in my head. That chorus. Da-na-na-na-na. Oh, like anyway, I need a moment. I need
And
a moment.
scene.
And scene. Okay. Okay. So if you're digging Alice Ivy, I'm gonna dig something else. I'm gonna dig something else. It's been in my head since I first heard it 2 weeks ago now. Um, it's again in that kind of electro producer world. It's an act I've never heard of before, and it was only working on this new thing, this new music thing that I they will put on my desk literally. The duo is called Hellcat Speed Racer. They're a duo from Sydney, and they essentially just have a good energy, right? Like they just bring a vibe. They've just wrapped up a national tour. They just played on the big Pineapple Festival in Queensland, just to paint that picture for you. They've teamed up with a band that I'm pretty sure we've had on the show before, The Boys. Have we had them on?
Oh yeah. As
Yeah.
in the floating boys out in the water,
Yeah,
but
Floating
there's
Boys
no
Out in the
dudes.
Water. No men, just floating boys. So they've teamed up with the boys for this track. The track is called Our Friends, and it is just a fun spring bop. It's catchy as all hell. It's fun. It's adorable. And I'm just really loving what these guys are doing. And there's something really special about being kind of shown something and just instantly it catching in your brain and it being that earworm and you then can't stop listening to them. It's a really positive vibe. So that's what I'm digging this week. Hellcat Speed Racer. I also love the name of that band as well. It's just
That's
fun,
rad.
or that duo. Yeah. So rad, so rad. So yeah, represent Sydney. Woo!
All right. Good on you. Good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Well, done that pretty quick. So another plug for the show. Make sure you get to our live show. We'll have fun. It's in the daytime, and November 30. Let's say see you later, spring. Even though I don't believe seasons should start at the end of the month, that's what we're doing. Let's go.
Seasons are a joke. Seasons
Yeah.
are dead.
Don't
Thank you
mean
for
it.
listening. All the details are in the link in the bio. So if there's anything you don't know, it's there, I promise.
Always live. Do it.